Hello, can everyone hear me? So I don't know how I'm going to follow that because that was incredible, so thanks. So if you all don't mind, I'd like to just tell you a little story. So I'm Shelley, I'm the Digital Content Business Partner for Fresca Group. I work across the group helping each site with their communications as well as the external and internal group-wide communications. So who is Fresca? So you've probably never heard of us, but you've probably eaten our produce. So we are a leading supplier of fresh produce. We have 9 sites across the UK. We provide produce to supermarkets, major retailers, online retailers, wholesalers, and even cruise ships, which I think is really, really cool. We have an avocado farm in Colombia where we sustainably grow avocados and ship them to the UK. We have growing fields in Lincolnshire and up the top of the country that grow courgettes, chard, potatoes, celeriac, fennel, basically every piece of veg you could imagine. We have hydroponic smart farms, which I never knew about until last year. And we grow pak choi, chicory, and all sorts of various produce. So just a little bit here is some of our sites. So we have a glass house complex in the south of Kent where we grow tomatoes, peppers and cucumbers. And I was told that the Northern Lights the other week over this site was absolutely beautiful. So, and we have that site. We have a site in Paddock Wood where we have avocados, as I mentioned before. That's our avocado centre of excellence. So we've recently invested millions into a new state-of-the-art ripening unit there. But going back into like the communications, we're an all-round business. So we have staff that are in the offices that work with the commercial side of things, but we also have growers and pickers and packers who are experts in their field. That pun was intended, by the way. So it's obviously communicating across the group is quite hard. You may not have heard of us from that, but this is our consumer-facing brand. So if you shop on Amazon Fresh or Ocado, you may well have seen us. Yes, that is a red banana, and that is real. So basically, Curious is kind of our way to go straight to the consumer. If you want to check out Curious, they're all on social media, so please give them a like. We're actually celebrating at the moment because we've just got our first line of produce in Waitrose here, which is organic blackberries, which is doing incredible. And we like to think it's because of Clarkson's Farm and the most recent series, but we don't harvest them with a Henry Hoover, so don't worry for those that have seen it. So the challenges. So as I mentioned before, we're quite a widespread business. So reaching those colleagues who aren't computer-based, like our operational teams, can be quite difficult. We also have different languages spoken across the group. We actually have 32 different languages spoken in our business. So that's been a challenge. Transparent feedback was also something for us that we were struggling with. Was our comms effective? Were they being read by the right people? Were they digesting it? Were they actually, engaging with it? Targeted communications. So how are we being effective with the delivery of our communications? Was it in one place? Did we need to do it in several places? And kind of just look into the way of that. And need for updates and investments. So what we did as part of that is we actually run a colleague survey back in 2022 and a pulse survey again in 2023. And we asked colleagues what they liked, didn't like, what they would improve and what they wouldn't improve. And better, clearer communication was something that was raised by pretty much all colleagues in that survey. So as part of that, we wanted to find basically something that would work. So we've got an employee app, which is Staffbase. So when I entered my role at Fresca, Staffbase was already in place, but unfortunately didn't have the resource to get the most out of it. So it was kind of sitting along the sidelines. People knew of it, but didn't really engage with it. So what we did was we kind of sat down and thought, right, what do we want from this channel? So we thought we've got an amazing name, Grapevine, which we're quite proud of, with our strapline being, have you heard it on the grapevine? So we're quite proud of that one. And then we sort of thought, well, why aren't people engaging with this? So we sat down, we went through the app, and we had several calls with Staffbase as well to say, look, we really need to learn the crux of this app, how we can make it work for us. When we saw the potential, the gaps in communications that I mentioned before with the growers and the office staff, etc., we got in touch with them to really kind of work out a plan to develop this app for us. We also did an analysis of the platform, using the results from the consumer survey I mentioned before, but also looking at the trends and needs of our employees from the, like I said, from the survey, kind of from round tables, group conversations, and develop the app into what it is today. As it says rollout here, so the rollout was also a little bit difficult, but if you don't mind, I'll come back to that in a moment. This is what our app looks like today. So the Fresca obviously is the central, it's the sort of main company for all of the different sites here. We thought that basically everyone needed a hub. They needed somewhere where all group news would be together. So our view is that this kind of platform here, the group-wide, is the glue that sticks all the sites together with their communications. We have home pages for each of the different sites here, which they can click through, which then replicates to a branded page with their content on it. For example, we had a post go out the other day from one of the sites, which actually made me really proud, and this only kind of happened the other day, and I thought I need to add this in. So one of the sites posted that they had passed an audit, because obviously in the fresh produce business we have quite a few audits, and all the other sites and people were starting to comment from there, and it was just really nice to see that sort of sense of camaraderie coming across. So it was really nice to see that we had kind of almost started to bridge that gap. Desktop is the predominant use for our app, but we do also have mobile users. So this is just a little revamp of kind of the mobile area where the carousel goes across, and obviously you can see all the different home pages along here. So you know, we quite like that. Colleagues can get it on the go, and we also send push notifications when we have a post as well. So what's really good is when those come through, we can see the surge in people that are looking at the post and engaging in it. And I must admit, I kind of sit there every day and I'm like looking at, oh, it's had more views now, it's had more views like sort of in an hour or so. And we use that for learnings of when we're going to post as well. So what we needed from basically redeveloping our communications thing was we needed a surge of engagement. So we needed to know that our content was reaching the right people at the right times with the right messages. So that was one thing, because like I said, we have so many different sites. So if one site posted something, would the other sites be interested, or would it be better placed for just that site? Informative, fun, and engaging content. So we needed to put more things on that people were going to engage with. I put a couple on the screen here, which our Look Inside Fresca series. That's kind of something that we've developed because we're such a wide business. What is there? So we did a deep dive into hydroponic farming. We did a deep dive into kind of audit season. We did a growing particularly. So for example, chicory, which I mentioned earlier, we're the only commercial UK grower of that. And it's grown in 8-foot high growing rooms in the complete darkness. So if anyone's interested, I've got a great reel that we shared on Waitrose Farmers page, which I can share with you because it blows my mind every time. But yeah, complete darkness. So we do a deep dive into that. We also send a lot of people messages. So our long service awards, kind of anyone that's excelled in their job, and also competitions. And one of my favourite is this pumpkin carving, which I will come back to. But honestly, you wouldn't be, the entries are just insane every year. And the other thing was high viewership. So like I said, we needed to put somewhere that people would interact, the viewership would increase. Would they actually go to this one place for the communications, or would we need to spread it out? So the next bit I want to show you is some engaging content. So as I said, there's the pumpkins. That was actually a winner of last year. I was going to say this year, but we haven't had Halloween yet, have we? So that's the pumpkins. When I mentioned the blackberries earlier, we did a little giveaway for some Jellycats, which you'd be surprised what people will do for some Jellycat collectibles. I didn't realise. We did Spot the Sprout. So we've kind of highlighted where it was because I didn't want you to all sit there and spend time looking for the sprout, but there it is. And we did Christmas Jumper Day as well. So that was really fun. But one of our best competition was this one. So at one of our sites, we have resident bees that help with like the pollination and kind of the growing. We needed the beehives named. So we put a competition out for everyone to name our beehives. They got a little plaque with their name on it, and kind of it'll be erected next to the beehive. And you also got a jar of honey that was harvested from the beehives. One of mine won. I named it Buzzingham Palace. So very proud of that one. So as you can see, we're trying to increase engagement there. This, however, is our most popular post of the year. So it's now, if we don't do it, people are going to start walking out, I think. So every December, we do an advent calendar, which is one question a day, 25 seconds to answer. You go into a leaderboard, and basically the person at the end wins £250 Amazon voucher. So that is, and what's great is that's as we've developed the app, that's got better and better, and we've even got some of our senior leadership team now involved in it and trying to answer questions. And then they're trying to set their own breakout questions as well. So that's really good fun. So obviously everything that I mentioned there with regards to the revamp and everything, these are the stats that we've come back with our increase in engagement, which we're actually incredibly proud of. The fact that 85% of users viewed the app is just something to us that you've got to bear in mind, obviously, with the diverse business. So we kind of communicate to our operational teams. They have locker rooms. They go in, they put their stuff, they wear all their coats, they dress up kind of their hairnets, their masks and everything like that. So we kind of have to keep communication down to kind of notice boards and things for them. But the fact that they're actually engaging with the app as well is something that we're incredibly proud of. And we think it's mostly down to the mobile part, but also we put computers in the kind of staff breakout areas in the canteens with Grapevine live feed, so they can click through and play and have a look through. So we're really, really proud of that one. The next bit I want to talk to you about is just about Fresca, really. I kind of want to shout a little bit proudly. So we're celebrating 150 years this year, which is absolutely incredible. So we've run this slide in a few of the local produce kind of publications, so Fresh Produce Journal. We've had our chairman be on a couple of podcasts, but it's a great achievement for us. And what's amazing is kind of where we are now in comms versus 150 years ago. So that's really exciting. I just want to talk to you a little bit about the campaign, if that's okay. So this man here, this is Chris Mack. He is our chairman. He is the 4th generation Mack family member for this business. So his great-great-grandfather, I think that's right, sort of opened a business. So we've utilised him and his stories. Everybody loves him. He's so lovely. So as part of the 150 campaign, we did a Fresca First conference, which we do every year, but we themed it around the 150 this year. We did a segment called Chair in the Chair, where we took some inspiration from Mastermind. And we put Chris in the chair and we asked him questions. So we kind of, from the start of the business out till kind of present day. This picture here is actually Chris getting his 45 years of service award, which is absolutely incredible. And rather than getting a prize or getting a sort of little bonus or something like that, he gave each and every employee a Mack Family Day, which is an extra day's holiday for this year, which is absolutely incredible. So that was that. And then we've also done merch. So as you can see here, our little merch bundle. We've spread that out. So when we had the conference, every member of staff got their mug and some biscuits, so as you can see here in our wholesale division. And then kind of in the conference, everyone was holding up their mugs and drinking coffee, and it was just a really nice kind of camaraderie. And then at the start of the financial year, we all got new notepads and highlighters. Who doesn't love a new notepad, especially in a new financial year? And then later on, we'll get the bags and the bugs as well. So we wanted to spread it out across the year. But probably one of the most exciting things is that we launched new benefits for all our colleagues that are so inclusive and so much better than what we had before. And actually, that was part of the feedback that we got as part of the survey. So just to sort of go and look ahead with what we're trying to do with our communications, we want to fine-tune the design. So what we've got now is absolutely brilliant, but how can we make it better? How can we get people to instantly know that that is their area for communication? How do they know that that's for their site? We annually assess progress, so we go into the analytics, we look at what times work for us, what sort of content works for us, what are people engaging or not engaging with, and kind of constantly use the analytics. The campaigns feature, so on the Staffbase app, there is a feature where you can post and then tag your content into a campaign. So for example, our 150. So we've been tagging those together and looking at the performance together, and then address identified areas for enhancement. So essentially, again, looking at the analytics, looking at the type of employee that's kind of looking at the content. Is there any area we need to reach more? Is there any area that we kind of aren't speaking to enough? So if it's okay with you, I'd like to just show you a little video. It kind of shows Fresca over the last 150 years. So I just wondered if you have a few minutes that you could just watch that with me. So please play. Don't know if I need to click again. Nope. It's always technical difficulties, isn't it? So if I click, it goes. Has anyone got? We're just bearing with me for a second, sorry. It's all right. Technology always lets you down, hey?
Heaps of questions coming through whilst that loads up as well.
Yeah, we can start with a question if you like, and then if music starts, I'll be quiet. So.
Can you mic me up? Thanks. Yeah, we'll start with the Q&A, Shelley.
Yeah, of course.
It is kicking off.
Oh, goodness.
So we're not going to get all of those, no videos on the slides. Okay, Kieran, is it feasible to talk with Rose and get that sorted? Thank you. There's 23 at the moment, so I don't think we're going to get through that, but it gives us plenty of time for the team to get the video sorted.
fresh produce was boring. It's not.
I'm going to do it all on upvotes, and then, obviously, Shelley, I think you're around all day, so just, if you had your question, then go for it. So with 18 upvotes, probably the most I've ever seen, do your frontline workers, pickers, packers, etc., use this on their own phones, or are there computers near them? How does it work for them to be online?
Okay, so great question. So obviously we've had a bit of resistance with employees wanting to put it on their personal phone. One, from the aspect of once you go home, you like to unwind, you kind of, sometimes it's best to leave work at work and kind of home at home. But like I said, we have the computers in the staff room. We do have employees that have it on their personal phones, and they just disable notifications and then they scroll on it at their own time. But to be honest, what we actually do is the old-fashioned way of putting a notice board up, and we literally just say new post on Grapevine and have a look here and give them a QR code to scan. Or we will link it round, I hate to say email, because I know we were speaking about email earlier, but that's another way as well to kind of get it to the line leaders so that they can communicate the message down.
Okay. What's the take-up of the mobile? Oh, everything's moving. Let's go for this. So disconnected employees can be so hard to engage as comms professionals, hard to keep on top of the engagement. Reaching them is one thing, but how have you successfully connected with them? Creating a real emotional connection that drives behaviours.
Okay, great question. So when we relaunched the app, which was March last year, I went on a road trip around every single Fresca site. I was armed with balloons, sweets, posters, you name it, and basically what people wouldn't do for a bag of Haribo is unreal. But so we went round and basically I set up a stand, so I would be in the office area, so I'd have a meeting room with all balloons and kind of things like that, talk to people about the app, how they'd get set up, but I also went to the operational areas as well and obviously put the balloons up, talked to them about everything and showed them how to set it up. But what the best part is obviously there's a feature on the app as well where you can set your language. So that's what I was helping colleagues with a lot, because obviously our operational staff speak different languages, and that kind of made them really resonate with it, because they were like, wow, it can speak in my language, and it's a flick of a button literally to change it. So it was really, really good. And I also showed them how to set up their profiles, their pronouns, everything like that, and put their pictures in. So they really felt like, almost like it was their little Facebook page at work, so.
Okay, thank you. What's the take-up of the mobile app from your frontline employees? So what's the take-up on?
So we've got 85% of.
It was actually in the slides.
It was on there. So, but it's interesting you said mobile, because like I said, desktop's the most leading popular, but we find that they do have it on their mobiles as well, but desktop's probably the most popular. Okay.
How did Fresca Group ensure consistent and effective adoption of the Staffbase platform across its diverse workforce? You mentioned 32 languages, of course, particularly among employees who may be less tech savvy.
Yeah, so as I said, I did the road shows, but I also am going to keep going round and speaking to people. I offer out basically training sessions every so often, so we can do them on Teams. We can kind of get people in the room and just go through the app again. We have fresh forum meetings at our sites, again, quite cool pun there, fresh forums, where we speak about kind of the updates of the business, and then that gets cascaded down. But we also mention Grapevine there as much as we can to get them signed up. So we're trying to spread the message. We could be doing things better, but you don't know until you try. So.
Yeah. Real. There can be some very understandable resistance to stuff having workouts. I think we've answered that. Are you can we go into the app translation a little bit more? So you've mentioned a flick of a button. So are you translating some of the app content in any of the 30 languages? How are you securing your content to be inclusive? And I guess I'd like to just ask there, how feedback from the 32 countries, how accurate is the translation? Because obviously we spoke about language bias as well with Claudia.
We haven't had any direct feedback on how kind of great the translations are. We've not had any complaints, so we take that as a good thing. But a lot of the colleagues, obviously, they do speak English as their second language. So the people that I've spoken to that I know in the operational side, so like, you know, it's great, I read it on both. So if something's not quite translated right, they can read it across in English. But in terms of making it diverse and kind of inclusive, there's lots of features. So you can make the text bigger and smaller, so people that, you know, might be slightly visually impaired can read it. We try and be really clear, less wordy, more visual on posts, so that kind of anyone that's having struggle reading, because a lot of the information you want to give out sometimes is really long. So there might be people with things like dyslexia or things like that that might not want to read it. So, you know, we try and be very visual with it, but also offer an email address or contact details at the end of every post. So if anyone wants to discuss it further or basically have any questions, they can reach out.
I'm smiling. We might need to ask you to log in, by the way, to get the video in.
Oh,
it's on a Google, so at some stage Kieran might pop over, but I'll continue with the
Yeah,
Q&A.
of course.
In the
Oh God,
meantime.
I'm really bringing this video up, aren't I?
No, we must watch it.
Jeremy Clarkson is not on it. I would like to point that out.
Right. I'll ask a question. Let's see how your multitasking is, Shelley. So can you provide insights into the process of measuring the impact and success of your app on employee engagement and communication?
Sorry.
Good luck.
I could
Go
not
on.
multitask then. Right, say again.
Measurement, so measuring impact of success on employee engagement and communication.
So like I said, we've got the analytics of the platform, but to be honest, it's kind of the word of mouth across the site. So especially when the advent calendar is running, you know, you literally have on the 1st of December, I've had people come up to me when I've been making myself a tea at probably 8:45 in the morning. Where is today's question? When is it out? And I'm like, guys, it's coming, don't worry. And if like we don't have that out by 10 o'clock in the morning, you do get emails like, where is today's question? I'm like itching to take part, so that's really exciting. And I also have people going, how many competition entries have you had? Is it worth me entering? And I'm like, okay, I've got a poker face here. But so it's really good word of mouth. And a lot of it is kind of, as we say, we do like a lot of surveys, we do some fresh forums. So we tend to ask people then, have you been engaged with this? Have you seen this? So. Yeah.
I'll let you crack on.
Yes, sorry.
This intermission is brought to you by Platinum Partner Staffbase.
I've got to try and remember the login now.
Good luck. No pressure.
Yeah, I know.
You said you had the mastermind chair.
Yeah. We don't have the actual mastermind chair, but yeah. Right. It's going to ask me for a password, isn't it? And it's on 2-factor, and I won't be able to get in.
Okay.
So,
we'll find a way to
damn it.
show this video late at some stage.
Yeah,
We'll
sorry.
find a way. Maybe at the quiz. I don't know. We'll find a way because I
basically
yeah.
that's going to ping our IT
Yeah.
team a notification that I'm trying to log in from London. So
Okay.
let me give them a call first.
So were there any unexpected benefits or outcomes that emerged as a result of implementing your new app?
Yeah, so the benefits were that sites could kind of find out more about each other. So whilst the sites kind of stand as their own business units, for example, you could learn a lot more about them. So I'm sort of based in Kent, down in those kind of sites, but we've got some up in Evesham, we've got some up in Lincolnshire. So what's really nice is seeing what they're up to and kind of being able to engage with them. So it makes you feel more of one team, which is kind of a great benefit. It's also kind of done employee morale as well, because everyone feels like they're being communicated to. But I would say it's really building kind of office culture and morale. I'd say it's probably the best benefit for us. And we did, like I said, we did a survey in 2022 and 2023, and seeing the increase from kind of the levels of our communication between the two whilst the app was kind of being developed was really good. It showed we were on the right path.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
With such a spread of employees, who was invited to the conference? And how did everyone get
interesting.
involved?
So the conference is mostly for managers and kind of senior management, but there's a lot more employees that join. I know that there's a guest list that goes out, but kind of you always find there's a few more people that add. We also do put it as a video every year and disperse that out, so anyone that wasn't able to make it. In terms of presenting, we kind of do each business site and the representative from those sites. We kind of do like a market overall analysis. So it's kind of, you can put yourself forward, really. But there are speakers that set every single time. But we do take anyone's sort of consideration on. So.
I might have missed this. How many employees does Fresca Group?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask that. So off the top of my head, I'd say probably about 2,000 across the group, maybe 1,500, 2,000. So I knew that was coming, and I was like, oh.
Well, it was not, that was me. I was just curious. How do you balance the need for so many different areas on your app with the need to not bombard employees with too much? I guess that's going to your right place, right time.
Yeah, so right place, right time. We also have a lot of places on the app that we know might not be regularly viewed. So we've got a wellness hub, which kind of signposts people to relevant information. So we hope that they've got that. We also list kind of important people within the business. So our first aiders, fire marshals, mental health ambassadors. So we kind of put everything together. But in order to not bombard and kind of make them think, oh my God, where am I going? We've worked a lot on the top menu bar to kind of see what's available. And actually there's a different view for everybody. So the view that was shown kind of on the screenshot that I showed earlier is my view, because I can see everything. But we've grouped employees down into user groups. So when they log on, it's literally Fresca homepage, their site homepage, Wellness Hub, mental health ambassadors. So we've fine-tuned it a lot. That's why there were so many menus on the screenshot, because I've obviously got view of everywhere. So.
Looking into some of the features here, so the Advent calendar is great. Is that something Staffbase built or an add-on? And just thinking about the cost of all this and the budget.
Yeah, so it is a feature of Staffbase. It's I think it's called Quiz Calendar, but I might have that wrong. But basically, you can set questions and multiple choice, and then we just set it to every day. But funnily enough, again, from the survey we did with the feedback, we realised weekends weren't that popular, so now we just do it Monday to Friday in December. And the cost of that is, to be honest, every year we put some money aside for basically employee engagement, and we can get prizes, we can get cupcakes, you know, things like that. And we really try and put, not throw money at it, because that's not the right way, but we try and incentivise people to communicate and share with the app.
Yes, prizes always
Who doesn't have a prize, right?
Exactly, yeah.
One time they gave away this fruit box from one of our sites, like with all the fruit and produce, and I was literally like, I want to win that so much. It's so good. But they arrange for it to be couriered to your house in a refrigerated lorry and everything. So it's quite a lot of cost implementation, but it's nice because then you're eating the produce that the company grows. So
That's wonderful. But you didn't win.
No,
But
I'm not allowed to win apparently.
Oh.
Apart from the bee competition. Apparently that's my one win of the year.
You mentioned actually a lot of people use it for desktop.
Yeah.
Someone's asked here for the breakdown, so workers versus computers working, computer or mobile.
Yeah, I would say it's a lot more desktop, but mobile, the push notification feature is actually helping us with that a lot, because obviously who doesn't check their phone on a regular basis, and a lot of the office staff have obviously a personal phone and a work phone, so a lot of them centralise it onto their work phone. But yeah, I think desktop is the most adopted, especially as well in our kind of intranet hubs per site. We now have a live feed of all of our news, so it's group news and your site news. So I think that's why desktop is so high, because when you log on to the hub first thing in the day, you click through to the new news story. So.
Okay, brilliant. And did you do any research on your culture or employee value proposition to inform your application of the app?
Yes, so as I said, we did the company survey, but we did also kind of hold, like I say, focus groups. We had the forum meetings, and people would say when I first started, I've heard of Grapevine, but we've not really used it. So and as part of my roadshow when I went round, I was kind of educating people morely on what the app did, how you can communicate. So that's kind of it really. We speak to people as much as we can, or hold like town halls, I think was the word mentioned earlier.
I'm just so many questions. I'm actually overwhelmed here.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realise people would be so interested in.
Oh my word. Can any? I'm just reading now. I can't even have time to process what the question is. Can any employee create user-generated content? And that's a really good question. Can any employee create user-generated content and post on the app without moderation? And I think I'm going to go to a mic run after that, if that's all right. So if you're right, you guys, to get that sorted.
No, that's fine. So yes, they can. So they can like and comment like most social media platforms. So the like, it's not just a like, it's a celebrate, praise, there's lots of different options, and they can comment on there. So in terms of moderation, I'd say it's not that your comment has been processed for moderation, we do check it. Okay. But especially with the competition, so what I've tried to do now is say, if you're going to carve a pumpkin and send me a picture, that's great, but you need to like the post and comment on it to tell me you've done it. and it kind of builds the engagement more, and then you find that people start chatting between them. So I think having the freedom to comment is something that people have really enjoyed.
Yeah, absolutely, two-way process. Let's open this up to a micro, and thanks, Kieran. Has anyone got any questions in the room? Come on, otherwise I've got to go through all that again. Anyone? No? I can still continue in the app then, in that case. Ah, fantastic.
Hey,
Kieran, thank you.
There was me thinking I was just really boring for about 20 minutes.
Hi there. Is it working? Hi. So we use Staffbase as well, and we're 18 months down the line. And I think the challenge I'm now facing is, what does phase 2 look like? So I'd be interested to hear where you're at, because if it was March last year, did you say?
Yes,
so you were just over a year. You have all that push at the beginning, all of that driving engagement. We're the same. We have high engagement, high sign-ups. Now it's about reducing that noise, so that you're not creating too much.
Yes.
So I just wondered where you're at now, 1 year down the line. What does sort of that phase 2 look like for you now?
Oh, great question. So we have also done a lot of analysis on our posts as well. So what content is hitting hard, what content isn't working, and not being afraid to, I think the best bit of advice I can give you is don't be afraid to say nothing. If there's nothing going on, you don't have to post. Like, we try and post sort of 2 to 3 times a week, but sometimes it's only once a week because there's not much more to say, you know. So it's kind of gauging what's working and what's not. In terms of phase 2, there's a few more design elements we'd like to bring in. We'd like to develop the wellness hub a bit more, and kind of, I guess, maybe look at doing more quiz calendars like the Advent calendar, but maybe part of the year. So I don't know if you know, but next week's a big one for us because it's British Tomato Fortnight.
Yep. Of course it is.
Honestly, there's a cucumber day, there's a pineapple day. Honestly, they're all on my calendar. So if anyone, avocado day is huge for us as well. So honestly, there is a day for everything. So we're kind of looking around those sort of key marks. So for example, like I mentioned earlier, our avocado centre of excellence, we've put a lot of investment into that. So avocado day is coming up. So it's like, what can we do? How can we really make this pop? Normally it'd be a post and a push notification, but I'm like, let's do competitions. Let's get people on Grapevine, sign up and get an avocado or something. I don't know. I haven't got that passed yet, so but I'm hoping. So yeah.
Fantastic, thanks. Is there any more questions in the room? Yes, Kate here, Kieran. Right, yep, keep running. Yeah.
He's getting those steps in today.
Anyone else at the front? Yeah.
That was a great presentation. I wanted to get an idea of your resources in your team to be able to manage the app.
Okay, so there is 3 of us in our team, one of which is a full-time graphic designer, so it's just me and one other person, which is a very small comms team to sort of go across the group. But what I did as part of the implementation and the road trip was I got champions from each site that I found were engaging and put them as admins. So we've now got little admin teams across each site that post, and it's people that are very passionate about it, so they might help with social media posts and things like that. And they are responsible for putting the posts out. Some sites have massively adopted it more than others. I think that's because of the number of employees and the workforce they have. But yeah, it's just checking in with the admins. I try and get quarterly calls in with the admins to kind of say, have you got anything coming up? Do you need me to push it on the main channel? Or I'm going to post this on the main channel. Do you want to put it on yours as well? So that's how we're building it. We're doing well, but there's a long way to go with it.
Actually. Okay, question over there and then over there to Deborah.
He's literally getting his steps in today, isn't
he?
Everyone's going to be bored of this video by the end. No one's going to care.
Spring, you didn't interrupt. Do you also use the hub for institutional and operational news, or is just the more employee engagement content?
Oh, so the hub is kind of everything. So we have SharePoint on there. We have links to like our signing in process. We have the booking holiday, benefits and everything. So the hub, when you load it up, is everything you need at the push of a button. But what we've done is added the feature of the news feeds, so that really helps.
Kieran, right over there in that corner.
Very loud voice. Deborah Marsh from Network Rail. How often do you post? So if you're talking about national content, things that are for everybody.
Yeah.
Do you have like a schedule or?
Thank you. I can be quieter now. Do you have a schedule? Do you have a set number of posts a day? Because when we look at how many things are going out on our SharePoint in news, we're probably talking 50 plus a day.
Wow.
It's absolutely insane, and we're trying to get a handle on that. What's your
So, as obviously from a group-wide perspective, so speaking to the entire group, we have a comms calendar that goes out. So obviously it mentions all the key days and the key tomato fortnights and all goodness that goes on. But we also have key things within the business. So obviously with the benefits launch, it's like when that goes live. So we have this calendar that kind of accommodates all of that. And then we work with the site admins to go, what have you got going on? So some weeks it might be really busy because they might have had audits or new product launches or launches, or like we're going live in this store with this product. So it really does vary. I couldn't actually give you a direct answer as to how many, because like I said, sometimes it's quiet, but that's where we've learned it's actually okay to be quiet for a little bit, because you know, you want to keep them engaged. So when they see and go, oh, they've posted 2 posts today, what's going on? They're actually interested in what the content is. So yeah, it's a very hard line to, so we just go on learnings.
Thanks, Deborah. And yeah, with all these special days, there can't be much room for anything else, can there?
Oh, you'd be surprised, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, everyone. Yeah. Any more questions in the? Oh, that's a bit late.
Any questions? Yeah.
Any
Sorry,
more questions in the room? Yes, one over there. That's great. Thank you.
Hi, my name is ADJ. Thank you very much for the presentation. Very good one. My question, I'm just echoing one actually from the from the app.
Yeah.
And the question is, considering that desktop is the highest way people use it, has this replaced the intranet, or how do you work with both of them together?
Interesting. So we're trying to merge the two. The hubs and kind of the SharePoint implementation is something we're working on. So we're desperately trying to merge the two to make it happen. But I think the problem is once you get on the app, you kind of see something and then you read something else and it kind of goes off and off. So I think that's where they're spending more time on it. So when we pull the news feeds through a bit more, they might spend more time on the hubs. So that's something kind of is part of phase 2, maybe even I think we're on phase 3 actually now. So that's kind of something that we will be looking at.
Great.
I hope that answered it, sorry.
Good. We've got time for one more question. There we go. Rowanna, let's put a hand up.
There we go, I didn't make you run either. Also love the presentation and the app as well. If you have static content on there, so for instance, you mentioned how to book holidays.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that that content is always up to date? Because I'm guessing you don't own that process.
No.
So yeah, how do you make sure the content is up to date?
So the best thing we've done is basically empower our HR teams to also have admin access and do what they need to do with that. So as I said, we've built the little admin teams. We've also given HR access. So they have a different type of admin access where they can add and remove users as well. Because obviously starters and leavers is something that it needs to be done. So they have access to that. But our actual holiday booking system is actually different to Staffbase. We just host it all through the intranet. So that we kind of have different teams that update different areas. It's something we need to improve on, but we're getting there. And that's the thing, you don't know, it's all trial and error, right? So.
Fantastic. Well, Shelley, we're going to watch that video. We are watching it at some point.
Oh no! Everyone's going to be here at 5. Bloody hell.
If it has to be at the end of the quiz, it has to go. Shelley, can we give a massive round of applause? That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.